Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be taking you on a journey to learn computer hardware maintenance. Kindly stay with us. Thank you.
Um, Good afternoon, our viewers, students. We are welcome to today's session. Last week, we were able to uh, take maintenance and maintenance techniques and system optimization as topic, where we were able to explain how to optimize our system, how to maintain, how to clean our system and make it ready for usage. And we also let us know that the solution for new demand is not to discard your your active system while craving for a new one. So why not optimizing it? Why not upgrading it? Why not do the necessaries and make it faster? Why not converting the conventional drive to the new SSD, which is a solid state drive? So why not doing that to make it more effective? That was the topic for that day. But today we are going into, must be anxious to hear the topic, though it's no more news because I told us last week that we are going to be going into the topic, which is troubleshooting and diagnosis. So we go into it. What do we actually call the troubleshooting? And how do we actually diagnose the problem and come up with a better solution? That is the last aspect of this session. And in fact, you are going to enjoy it because at the end of the day, you will be able to tell us how to troubleshoot, how to sum up when you troubleshoot, when you diagnose, you come up with the problems, and the solution will be readily made for it. Because once you are able to identify a particular problem and you trace it to the source, the next is for the problem or the solution to be offered, available. So let's go into it. What the common hardware problems are what that we are going to troubleshoot. We should look at them. The common hardware faults, what are they? Power supply unit. My my CPU does not bring light. I put I on the power and the CPU does not show light. The first thing you ask yourself, because at times when people raise questions, the CPU does not show light, some may simply means the monitor is not showing anything, meanwhile the CPU powers on. So they are not the same. You need to, in this troubleshooting, you get to know the differences in them. At times, when you on your system, you on your CPU, the CPU does not on at all. The CPU does not show light at all. The light indicator will be on your CPU. This is the power. Note that the power will always be 0 and 1. The 0 will be described by 1. That is the power point where you punch and it will come up. And you discover nothing is showing. You have identified a particular problem. So look at the power supply, the power supply unit, the common faults that we have on the power supply unit. What are they? Faulty ordered what? Power supply unit. If the power supply unit is dead or is faulty, there is every tendency that no power will come up. And the symptoms, no power will come up. And the other thing, if the power is at fault, you notice your system restarts. So we are able to trace this. We look at the components and we have seen the common faults. Then we have looked at the what symptoms. That is for the PSU, which is power supply unit. Then we look at the motherboard itself. What are the common problems, common faults to the motherboard? The common faults to the what? Motherboard. What are they? This capacitor, at times, due to voltage, they become bigger and swell up. They are common faults. And the result may be that the system will now restart due to this, or the system may not show anything due to this capacitor that has been faulty. Then it may even be short. Short supply may even be short on the power board. Instead of sending the necessary voltage to every other component of peripherals, may not be able to do that because the power supply is not enough. And what are the symptoms we are likely going to see? There won't be what? No post. No what? No power on self test. It will not come up. That is post. POST. Power on self test. So we need to look at this. Why is it not? Then with this, that you know the motherboard is at fault. How do you know? You check on the board, you look at that some capacitor has burst or they are not, they look burnt. Once mere looking at them, you will know. They will change in shape. You see, they will change in what? Shape. In that wise, you should know. And your system will not be able to boot. Your system will not be able to what? Boot. When you on it, your system will not go to window. That is what we mean by system will not boot. Then RAM. Some people, they call it memory. Once you hear memory, they also call it RAM, which is random access memory. It's a memory. Then what happened to the memory? What are common faults to it? It will lose or is fault with the faulty module. At times, when the memory is not when the RAM is not well keyed in to the slot, when the RAM is not well keyed into the slot, when the slot is dirty as a result or dusty, so as a result, may not allow the system to function properly, which is what? The symptoms. You just discover that your system will start beeping, unnecessary beeping. Is as a result of this. At times you'll be working and the system will just freeze. It will hang as the case may be. And at times you observe all these things. You may not know what because you need to look at it, look into your what? Memory. And we have the hard disk drive. Either the HDD, which is the hard disk drive, or SSD, which is the solid state drive. You look at what are the bad sectors inside the hard drive can cause it. Look at the hard drive. This one is a metal drive. It spins. It has this one. This is the HDD. It has spinning parts, and it's not spinning as usual. Then you should know your hard drive is at fault. The SSD too, they do have their faults. Then what are now the symptoms? Instead of your system going to window, it will be complaining, operating not found, slow booting, it will boot slowly, it will not respond when you tap it, it won't respond to you, it will be showing blue screen and the likes. These are what symptoms you found when your hard drive is having fault. And your CPU, you discover that your CPU is overheating, doing an overheating, and there will be failure. Instead of it will not come up, it will show anything on the monitor. Your CPU will show light. Once there is issue of such, you discover that this thing will show light, but it won't show anything on the what monitor. It's as a result of the CPU. Due to what? When it's overheat, like where the paste is supposed to, the thermal paste is dried, you need to replace the thermal paste because this can cause the processor, the CPU to get heat or to be overheated. So this will also result to a system boot failure, and your system will even shut down unnecessarily. So may not even boot. So you observe that all these things are actually happening. And we have to the GPU, which is the graphics cards. And we said the other time, this is a display unit, or they use this display unit. They are both, either you use the HDMI, or you use the VGA, either of the two for your monitor. We have the modern monitor that uses HDMI. If your desktop does not have HDMI, you can go for the card, the PCI card that accommodates either the VGA or the HDMI, so that it will allow you to connect your HDMI cable as against your flat screen or modern monitor. Then that is what are now the common faults. Faulty card. This card can be at fault, can be faulty at times, so that you not go and be troubleshooting your motherboard. It may be the card. And what other thing will get overheat, and you discover that there is a fan on the card, is to make sure the fan, the card gets as cool as possible. To make sure the fan gets as cool as possible. Then which other faults? What are now the effect of this? What is the symptoms of it? You discover no display. It won't show anything on your monitor. Artifacts you will see it on the screen. They may be showing one unnecessary blue screen and the likes, which is as a result of this. The signal may not be appropriate. How do you actually know this? Then you look at your keyboard. If you want to actually get this, tap num lock on your keyboard. It will respond. Tap the cap lock. It will show the lights, but your monitor may not show anything. It's as a result of your faulty GPU. Then your fans and the cooling. Once the fan is dust and is wear, what is the likely symptoms you'll be having? Overheating and loud noise, unnecessary loud noise and overheating. You discover this heat, unnecessary noise, overheating. Then you have to make sure what are now haven't discovered the components with the common faults and the symptoms. What is now the necessary steps to take? We'll get to that part. Then the other thing we need to take note of is this diagnostic. What are the diagnostic tools? What do we use as the tools? One is post. I mentioned this before, which is power on self test. Power on what? Self test. Then what you do is what is used for is to identify errors on startup, like beam codes and the LEDs. All these lights, they have what they do. They are not for fashion. Look at the lights on your laptop system. They have some lights that will be there. The LEDs, they are meant for something. If you discover that the light is not working as usual, you are the user. You know how the light used to show. And when you discover is now giving you an ampere light, you should know there is a problem somewhere. So you need to take note of that. Like the BIOS and the UIF, what do you do with that? You check the connected hardware and settings very well. And we have told ourselves that the BIOS is the basic input and output system. You check it that, and we have the CMOS battery. We explain to ourselves that is what actually helps to hold the BIOS settings, and it also helps to hold your time, your date settings. You need to take note of that. They are on the system, not for fun. And you need your what? Your multimeters. What is it used for? We need to take note of this. The meters is used to test power supply and connection. It is used to test power supply and connection. So if you want to know the appropriate volt that flows into your computer system, you check in. You have to check the mouth as against the components you want to read, so as to know if an appropriate power is supplied. If to know, you know if the actually one component actually supplies to the other. Let's hear the sound, the beeping. Can you see that? That one checks if one component actually interact with the other components. So that is the work of the what? Multimeter. Then we have the memory tester, which is what? Example, memtest 86. It is used to diagnose RAM errors. If your RAM is showing errors, then you can use it to detect if your RAM is at fault or not. We have the hard drive tools such as Crystal Disk Info. It will check your. We have other ones too. They will tell you the appropriate health. If the health of the hard drive is 100% or is below. If it's getting to a lower, a replaceable percentage, it will tell you so that you know you have to replace your hard drive before the fault caught you unaware. Then we have the thermal monitoring software that monitors your CPU, your GPI temperature. Maybe it's normal or it's working abnormally. So you discover and you know the next step to take. Then we have device managers in the Windows. You can through it you can identify the missing drivers. The drivers that are not installed on your system, you can get that, or you can know that from your device manager. Are we together? Yes. Now we are able to capture the common hardware faults, and we are able to use our diagnostic tools, which will allow us, which will act as intermediary between us and the component. I want to know maybe the component is actually working or not. Then we move to troubleshooting steps. The troubleshooting step has procedures. For instance, you now discover that you on your system, the system is not on. You don't just go and open the desktop as a whole, or you open your laptop as a whole. They have steps that will guide you. And what are the steps that will actually guide you? You check power and connections first. Look at the sources. Is your source, is the power, if it's connected to UPS, is the UPS on or not? Check from your light, is the light on or not? Before you start to diagnose with your CPU. So you identify the problems first, which means you gather user reports, error messages, beep codes. You know which one. Is it beeping? Is it sounding pan, pan? How is it reacting? It's not making any noise. Is it spinning unnecessarily? Ooh. Is your fan working abnormally? These are the things you first identify. You don't just assume that is a processor, is the motherboard. No, you have to take it a step after the other. Then Observe the system behavior. Check how the system reacts. The same way doctors will check our temperature. Check how it's behaving. Is it normal? Is it warmer? You get to know, then you now know the next step. Then you isolate the problem. Disconnect non-essential hardware. Once you have disconnected it from the power, disconnect every component, disconnect everything connected to the major board. Try to turn it on. Is it coming on? If it comes on, then look at be connecting the components one after the other and observe so as to know the faulty components. Then you now run your diagnostics. You run it such as what we have given to us. We do it one after the other, repeating the steps one after the other. Definitely you get where the fault is from, so that you not be using Paul to rob Peter. Are we together? Yes, we are. Faulty or unseated RAM. Check it. If your RAM is not well seated, if you are using 2 or 3 RAMs, reduce the RAM to 1. Check it. Is it working well? Yes, if it works, then it must be one of the RAMs. You check appropriately. You check one after the other. Is it the spot? Get to know where the fault is from. Wrong keyboard layout. Check it very well. Why is it the USB? The keyboard is not typing. Why is it not typing? Is it the USB? Is it the CPU? You get to know where it is from. Troubleshooting, get another keyboard. Use the other keyboard. Yes, the keyboard is working. Wow, it may be my own keyboard. Yes, in a nutshell, let me ask you, what is now the first step in any troubleshooting process? What is it? Let me know if you actually along. I will provide options for you, no problem. A, buy a new component. B, reboot the system. C, identify and define the problem. D, open the case and remove the parts. Wow, it's so cheap. Yes, C, you identify the problem and define the problem appropriately so as to know the step, the approach you give to the problem and the solution that will come along with the identified problem. Are we together? So it is said that once you observe a particular problem, which is in troubleshooting, once you have observed a particular problem, say no display after power on. Possible causes, what could be? No, you on it and there is no display. Wow, yes, yes. RAM, yes. It could be processor, yes. We are together. It could be the board, yes. It could be any of them. Until you get to know which particular or which of them is the problem. That is the main core of this session. Are we together? So look at and what could be if your memory is not well seated, you could cause it. All you need to do is to reset the memory. Then you can also replace your processor or your RAM, as the case may be. Once you detect, you can replace your hard drive too, be it the SSD or HDD, as the case may be. So, in a nutshell now, I want to take a scenario now where I turn on my system and it's beeping unnecessarily. Pam, pam, pam. Then the next thing to do for that sound that is making is for you to look at it vividly, making that sound, and normally the system does not make sound, turning it on a normal day, but making that sound makes it an abnormal behavior, which you have to identify, you have to troubleshoot, you have to use diagnostic tools, then you now solve it. So you can see the steps. In steps, you take them one after the other. For it to sound, I will check it, I will disconnect, maybe if it has to do with power problem, disconnect everything, like no power. I turn it on, it's not coming on. The monitor is on, fine, but the CPU is not coming on. That's a power issue where you need to identify where that fault is coming from, which could be from your PSU, power supply unit, or your board itself. Your board itself may reduce the power supply on your CPU, so you need to know and identify where the fault is. I think we are able to conquer this as a topic. We are able to come to the end of troubleshooting, diagnostics, and what when you diagnose what is now is for you to solve the problem. You troubleshoot a problem using the diagnostic tools, then you come up to now solve. Once you have identified the problem, that this is the problem, you can also compare. That's what they call troubleshooting. You can compare when you have spares, where you have memory, you are using two memories and it's making unnecessary sound. You remove one, test one on first hole. If it does, if because some CPU they make use of more than one hole or slot, put the first there. If it's still making that sound, put it on the second hole. If it's not making the sound, then you should know. And finally, we are able to come to the end of this session. In a nutshell, we are able to achieve our objective, which is troubleshooting and diagnostics. So, therefore, my students, I can take one or two questions here. Let's see how we are going to respond to it, which is based on what I have explained on troubleshooting. Okay, let me ask you, what is the first step in troubleshooting a hardware issue? The first step, yes, it depends on the problem. It depends on what? I will not solve it straight away, but it depends on the problem. If it's a power problem, disconnect everything connected to it. That is the first. You check power and connections. But if it is a beeping, if it is not display, you check appropriately the connections before the power. Because for it not to display, it has power, there is voltage flow, though the voltage may not be enough, but there is flow. The next step or the next place to go to could be your memory, could be your CPU, could be the board, could be the not well seated memory, or your processor, as the case may be, or even the paste, thermal paste. So you need to check on them vividly. So we are able to come to the end of the last session. So we are going to draw up the curtain here. We thank the students. We also thank our viewers for uh, going this far with us. Thank you so much. And we thank everybody for taking part in this project, because every work in life is project. We say thank you all, thank you.